for coming back for yet another week. So in the last video that I put up, I actually did a little bit of an update here on the St. Augustine grow. And judging by the reactions that I got in some of the comments, I could see some of y'all, like, your jaws dropped when you saw the results that we got here. You're thinking, oh my God, Hayne, that is horrible. And the truth is, I mean, yeah, we have some major challenges here. What you really have to realize, though, is where this lawn was in the late spring of just 2016, so not even a year ago. I mean, if you remember, I cut down massive trees in here. There was absolutely no grass. The only good grass was a patch right here, which now has expanded all the way out to there. But originally it was just one little patch right here of St. Augustine. This was all that was left. The entire rest of this lawn was killed 100%. Well, except for some Bermuda that we're gonna work on today. Other than that, this lawn has done really well from plugs, especially considering the doveweed attack that it had to fight off in the summer. So before we go getting too crazy, let's look at what our plug job actually has accomplished. So here's where we are. There's the driveway. Franken lawn about to get destroyed is over there on the other end. This here is good growing and thriving St. Augustine. All this, I know it's shadowy, and I know it's not 100% filled in. We still have some bare spots, but look, this is all good St. Augustine in here. All through here, St. Aug, St. Aug. All that good St. Augustine. Trust me, I wish I would have gone with sod. It would have been a lot better choice. And if you're watching this video, and I've said this before, don't plug an entire lawn. Plugging works great for small repairs at 250 square foot or less. But if you're trying to create a brand new lawn, just bite the bullet and sod it. In the meantime, this is what I'm left with, and it makes great content for this channel, and that's really what this is all about here. That's why I'm called the Lawn Care Nut. Throw her down! So right now, my biggest concerns are some nutsedge that's coming in here. It's pretty bad, and we're gonna talk about that in another video. The Bermuda that we're gonna address today, and then my third concern is preventing the doveweed that I know is going to invade again. I've gotta make sure I hedge against that. But first things first, let's address the Bermuda problems. So for example, you can see patches of Bermuda right here. There's one of those big ass nutsedge balls over there, but this is the Bermuda that's coming in here. So here's the front of the house, and this is the biggest patch right here of invading Bermuda. I mean, it's really large. It kind of goes all the way around there. There is some St. Augustine in there, but not much. You can see there's St. Augustine also fighting in there, right there. What kind of chemical solution can we use that will kill or at least suppress this Bermuda and not harm our St. Augustine? And that's why we're going to try atrazine. Atrazine is a restricted use product, and 4% atrazine is the strongest formulation available to me here in Florida. All right, next let's talk about site prep, because I want to go ahead and cut the lawn just because I think it looks good, and it also is good for the St. Augustine to keep it cut because it stimulates runner growth, but I don't want to cut the Bermuda. I want that to stay as long as possible. I want as many leaf blades out there to absorb our treatment. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the lawn, but I'm going to cut at 4 inches, which is good for the St. Augustine and good enough for the Bermuda. It shouldn't be growing much taller than that anyway. That'll still leave plenty of leaf surface. After mowing, I had to go ahead and get my Milo fix on, so I applied 0.75 pounds in, just to keep things growing. Next, I had to set up a double-aught camera rig to open up this marking blue. I know you guys think, Alan, you're always talking about products all the time, pushing products, pushing products. Well, guys, these are products that you need in order to do proper application sometimes. In this case, we need some super blue marking dye. I got this from Sebastian at Solution Self Chem. I'll link his information in the description below. I'm I'm also using a surfactant just to make sure things are sticky, sticky, sticky. We're going to mix up 2 gallons today, and so we're going to go ahead and fill the sprayer 3/4 full of clean water. Now we're going to use the recommended label rate for hand cans at Broadleaf Weed Control, which is a little over 4 ounces per gallon. The reason that we're doing that is I don't want to hurt the St. Augustine, so I know that the Broadleaf Weed Control rate listed on the label will not harm St. Augustine, but hopefully will harm Bermuda. Keep in mind, this product is not labeled to kill or suppress Bermuda. We're kind of using it outside of the label boundaries. But I've heard and read online that atrazine can suppress and kill Bermuda. Hence the reason it's not labeled to kill broadleaf weeds in Bermuda. Now the reason we're using the marking blue dye here is because the Bermuda is kind of hard to see, it blends in, and it's not just in patches that are easy to demarcate. It's actually kind of spread throughout. It has fingers that run off in every direction or the other. So by using this marking blue, I'll know where I've hit and where I've not, so I can make sure to get a complete and total application. And you could do this with any kind of weed control, any kind of application. Using marking blue is one way to increase the consistency and effectiveness of applications because you make sure you don't miss anything, or on the flip side, double spray something.
Happy trees. He lives right there. Right there.
Of course, when the day is done, having a nice stogie never hurts. Let's go take a look at the work that I did today so that way we can monitor our progress in the future.
And I know now the next question. Knowing you, being the interviewer that you are, digging in deep all the time, you will say now, what does your wife think about that?
There's like too much wind for me to film out there, so I'm just going to talk over the B-roll. So you can see with the marking blue that it's extremely easy to see where we've sprayed and where we haven't. And what this did for me is, like with a lot of problems, is when you actually start to address them, you actually realize the scope and size of the problem. And in this case, I realized that it was much greater than I had originally noticed when I was just mowing. Again, when you're concentrating on something, in this case Bermuda, and you're concentrating on hitting it and not missing any, you really do, it really does open up to you just how bad the problem is. Some of you also may have noticed the big dead spot on the one corner there. That's actually where I did kill a bunch of Bermuda using glyphosate, and I do have an alternative plan should this one not work out. It's just not something that I want to do. In the long run, what's going to happen though is after I suppress the Bermuda enough, I'm going to go in and I'm going to add some fresh plugs to some of the thinner areas, and some of the areas that are really big and really thin, I'm going to go ahead and just sod those. We're going to kind of patchwork this lawn back together. And patching this lawn back together starts with finding a good method for controlling the Bermuda, and that's why we tried the atrazine. So with that, I'm Alan Hain, the Lawn Care Nut. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week with the results, and I'll see you in the lawn. What's up, y'all? All right, so now today is like a week later after the stuff I was just filming. Today is January 8th, and I figured we would go ahead and do an update on our atrazine app against that nasty Bermuda that's invading my St. Augustine beauty. All right, so here we are again. You can see there is the big patch of Bermuda. All the blue has pretty much gone away, dissipated, whatever you want to say. But let's take a look now and see if we got any kind of suppression at all. Wah, wah. Looks to me like the Bermuda completely laughed off the 4% atrazine application I did. Now keep in mind that I did do this at the labeled rate, and the labeled rate is not meant to go against Bermuda. The labeled rate is meant to go against broadleaf weeds. However, I didn't want to start too heavy, because if I start too heavy, I could kill off the St. Augustine. So if I decide to do more experiments this way, I'm gonna have to go with a little heavier application. Throw down! But what we've learned today is that if you're gonna use over-the-counter atrazine at the rates labeled, it's not gonna control wild Bermuda grass in St. Augustine. Now, some of the lack of results could be due to the fact that in the last 4 days, we've gotten really low temperatures, and even overnight from yesterday into today, we almost got down to freezing, which is pretty rare here. And when it stops growing, it means that the weed control that may have entered into the plant isn't gonna move anywhere. It's not gonna be moved throughout the plant where it can do the job that it was meant to do.
So therefore, it is okay. I can smoke stogies in my house because I'm a stud. I smoke my stogie anywhere I want. I don't have to find a hideout place like you.
So from here I'll have to head back to the drawing board, but I'm definitely gonna need to wait till it warms up and things start growing again, more vigorous here. In the meantime, a lot of you recall, I don't know, a few months ago I said that, hey, I've got a really big announcement coming up, probably the biggest announcement ever on the channel. Well, that announcement's gonna happen here probably within the next 1 to 3 weeks. And all I'm gonna ask is that when you get that announcement, by the way, here's that croton again, another week later, and it is redding out major, like nice, beautiful, bright reds and oranges, and very little green even left. And this is really why you want these, is for this really stark contrast of almost this black versus this orange. Really looks cool from far away. And I'm just wondering again if that potash is what made this turn this color. I mean, it kind of seems that way. So we're gonna do some more experiments and see if we can hack some plant colors by doing foliar sprays like that. Something to look forward to in the future of the lawn care nut.